Welcome to Haxby Shed and a video on replacing the battery in this Fitbit Versa. Now if you're one of my regular subscribers, stick with it, just think about it as small scale engineering. But if you've arrived here because you were searching for Fitbit Versa battery replacement, then I hope you find this useful. My approach is a bit unconventional and a bit rough and ready, but it works. The battery's given up in my wife's Fitbit, and apparently with a heat gun you can get this lens off and then you can get another battery and replace it. But there's a very high chance that it's going to break, so let's see how that goes then. Put it in the vise, of course. They say get this too hot to touch, so I'll keep heating it for a while. And they say use a very fine razor blade just under this corner and work the razor blade round. Well, I don't have one, I'll just use a Stanley knife. There we go. Hey look, it's off. Who needs a razor blade, eh? Right, I don't have a battery yet. We wanted to do this to see if we could get it off, and then if we could, you know, it's 20 quid for a battery, I think. I've watched a couple of YouTube videos about stripping these down, and I've realised there's a couple of variations. So I really need to get the battery out to know which one I've got. So I will continue to strip it down, but I've realised there's a couple of screws here, 4 screws really, which are T4, and I don't have a T4, I think I've only got a T5. But we'll do a bit. We'll take this Wi-Fi antenna off. I know that because it told me on YouTube that it's a Wi-Fi antenna. Just a patch of glue there. And then a couple of connectors here. I'm going to do this off camera because I need to concentrate. The display comes out by pulling these 2 tags out of connectors here. There they are, look. I think I should have taken that plate off before I took the screen connectors off. But no harm done. Now I need to go and order up some T4 headed screwdrivers for that screw, that one, and that one. And then all of this plate needs to come out, this circuit board. And I'm guessing the battery must be underneath. It doesn't look quite like the ones I've seen on YouTube. It must be another variant. Well, the Torx screwdrivers have arrived, but it's the usual thing. It's almost as cheap to buy a set than it is to buy one screwdriver. But I've now got a T2, which is what I need. Well, it does fit. They claim to be magnetic. We shall see, won't we? Of course, they might be stainless steel screws anyway. Well, that's one. 2 coming out. I've put a bucket under the bench. Oh, it is magnetic, look. I put a bucket under the bench so that when I drop the screw, which I will of course, it'll land in the bucket and not disappear amongst all the other muck on the floor. Come on. Oh, this one's got a rubber ring on it. And that one's got a rubber ring on it. Around the screw, that is. Right. We'll just get those 2 out. Well, the 4 screws are out, and I found there was a connector there. And now this baseboard is free by the look of it. Yes, there was another connector besides that actually. There was, oh, where can I put this? There we are. There was another connector just there if you can see it. So we now get down to the battery. So the battery's right in the bottom, and this is the battery cover. He says without any authority whatsoever, but I think it is. Battery cover coming off. There were some tiny cross point screws in there, but you can see the battery, there it is. There we are, one battery. Better make sure everything is sterile before we start work on this sensitive electronic equipment. A new battery has arrived. Comes in a nice box. I saw it on AliExpress, sold directly from China, a company in Shenzhen I think, under its own brand, Cameron Sino. And then I looked around for suppliers in the UK, and I found somebody shipping this, offering this in the UK. There's a general problem of fake batteries, and when I say fake, what I mean is people who are selling batteries as new, but actually they've come out of old broken phones or old broken Fitbits, and they just sell them as new. So I would just make a guess, you know, there's a good 50, 60, 70% chance of buying a replacement battery, supposedly, you know, OEM, but actually it's just junk. So this battery, together with the glue, cost me, I think, about £16. So I thought it was worth the risk, because a new Fitbit like this is about 200, something like that. So we'll get it set up and see if I can remember how to put this thing back together. Well, I just came off camera a bit there because I had to concentrate. I couldn't remember how the battery went in. But it's seated in the bottom there now, and you can see the connection tag. If I pull this back, you can see the connection tag just there, which plugs into the top of the board when it goes on. So the next thing I need to do is to put on this metal shield cover over the battery. That one, if you can make it out, goes that way around actually. Now again, I'll have to do that off camera, I think. I'm having to remember that these lower screws, which hold the battery shield, are cross point. Now I don't know what chance there is of you seeing, but there's actually a screw on the end of there. Well, the battery cover's on, so now I need to put this board in. Honestly, I think the chances of this working again are pretty slim. Look how fine these connectors are here. You can see how fine these connectors are. Look at this one here on the battery. Now there aren't any pins as such. The connectors are around the outside of that rectangle, so it's not possible to bend any pins. But they are very fiddly to click into place. But once they do find their location, they go in with quite a snap. And they're a very positive fit. Well, it was a bit of a struggle, but I have managed to get it back together. In the end, all the connectors went in without too much trouble. So I'm going to put it on the charger now and see if I can get the thing to light up. There's no point gluing the lens back down if I can't get it to light up at all. I put it on charge, and we're a day further on now, and look, it's working, isn't it? Whoops, apart from the screen is not fixed in yet, as you can see. I did have some problems which are worth explaining. When I first charged it, I couldn't get the screen to light up at all. Didn't know if it was a faulty new battery, if it was a fake, or whether I'd just got a connection wrong or something. So to test the main assembly, I actually connected the old battery. Now the battery sits right in the bottom of the Fitbit, as you saw, but because of the way the connector works, I was able to actually uncouple the new battery and put this one in, something like that, onto the board. And so I could run the old battery externally. Now it won't run for long on the old battery, but I was able to prove, because it lit up and worked, I was able to prove that the basic assembly was working. So I reconnected the new battery inside, and then it worked. There's such fine connectors on these things, it's easy to get it just a little bit out of place. So if I'd given up at the point that it wouldn't charge or wouldn't light up, you know, it would have been a mistake. And as they say, it'll be all right in the end, and if it's not all right, it's not the end. So the only thing I've got left to do now is to glue the screen on, and I have to decide, do I scrape out all of the old glue first, or do I heat it up again? Do I heat it up again, excuse me? I need to make my mind up. The glue has a very, very, very fine nozzle on it there, and the pin in the lid goes through to keep it clear. And as you press the tube, it comes out ever so slowly, so it's quite controllable. Anyway, I've decided I'm going to use the heat gun to warm up the face, because the glue is quite hard that's around that face now, and I don't want it to remain all lumpy and be irregular. So I'll warm it up a bit and then we'll put this on. Maybe you'll just see my fingers here, but obviously it's a bit difficult to do. There we go. It's black, this glue, by the way. You can get different colours. Get clear and black. Just trying to run it all the way around the edge. Right, well, we'll try that. Not quite sure how long it takes to dry. Some of it's squidged out of the edges. Probably put a bit too much on, but I'm just trying to be careful and make sure it's waterproof. This is like trying to thread a needle, getting that back on. Well, the face is glued on. The new battery seems to be working fine. £16, I think, to save 200. I hope it'll be waterproof. It could be a very short-lived success if it floods with water. But a lot of people, of course, don't swim in theirs, and the repair I've done would probably be fine. So I hope that was useful to you. Thank you for watching Haxby Shed.